You can win 83% of your bets if you watch this video. I'm going to show you guys exactly how I was able to achieve that exact number in the month of January. And yeah, maybe it sounds a little bit made up, but I'm going to show you guys exactly time-stamped and a bet tracker of how I was able to hit 83% of my bets in January. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you step by step exactly what you need to do to be able to implement this into your everyday sports betting, because there is no winning like that anywhere else. You have to be taught how to do it the correct way. If you're not taught how to do it the correct way, guess what? You're just going to be guessing and just throwing numbers out there. And next thing you know, you're going to be donating money. So I'm going to show you guys on the whiteboard step by step how we're going to do that. Also, I'm going to take you guys inside the bet tracker, show you how we did in January, so that way everybody could see exactly how it is time stamped and everything for the group, everything. So that way, because you know you're going to have people out there, oh, well, you could just implement data and just put stuff in. Get it all the time. Well, guess what? You can't make up the dates and you can't make up the time. So I will put that stuff in there and show you guys exactly how that works. Now let's go ahead and get over to the whiteboard, and I'm going to show you guys what you need to do to be able to hit 83%. All right, so first off, let's talk about the odds that you need to be looking at. So number one, what were the odds, or my average odds over the month? Now this is going to shock everybody. Why? Because everybody always says, you can't sustain doing that long term. You can't do it long term, Frank. There's no way you could do it. Even though I've been doing it for years, there's still no way to do it. I'd rather go and play my minus 110s and hopefully I could win 50% of the time and still lose money. These are the odds that were the average that I hit. Minus 250. All right? Minus 250 was the average odds for the entire month. Now, let me show you exactly what is the percentage you need to hit here to pretty much break even. You need about 71%, a little bit over. Okay? So think about that. You need 71%, a little bit over, to be able to break even there. And what was I able to hit? I was able to do 83%. Thus being able to profit because of that. So you see, it's not impossible to be able to average these type of odds over an entire month. All right, it wasn't a week, it wasn't 2 weeks, it was an entire month. And like I said, I've been doing this for years, and it's tracked, so that way I show you guys exactly how I've been able to do that for years. So anybody that tells you, I'm not going to play this, I won't play these plays, you know why they tell you that? They tell you that because they're broke. All right, it's plain and simple. They tell you that because they're broke. Because if they go and bet $10 on this game, they're only going to make $4 or whatnot. Of course, who's going to go and do that? Because they don't care to make $4, right? That's why they tell you that. But if you're going to bet $1,000 on this game to make 400, 500 bucks, like, yeah, that's a decent amount of money to make for sure. So it's two different spectrums when it comes to that. But your first step here is ignore the minus 110 lines. Ignore those lines. That's the line that the sportsbook wants you to bet. That's what everybody's always jammed in your head since sports betting became a thing. Make sure you're betting minus 110s and just try to beat over 52.6% or whatever it is that you break even. No, we don't care about that. We don't care about that. We're in the probability game. We need to know if what we're going to bet on has an opportunity to actually win. We're not taking a guess. Okay, so number one, forget about your minus 110 stuff. Find probability plays that have minus 250. You don't have to stick with just straight up minus 250. Like I said, these are the average odds that I had. There were some plays that were minus 180, some plays that were minus 300, some that were minus 270, some that were minus 220. You know, it's just, and the average for the whole entire month, this is where I hit. Okay? If you hit 83% in that time frame, the amount of units that you make, because here goes another thing. Everybody's going to be like, how many units did you make? Because anybody could hit 83% if they're betting minus 1,000s or whatever. So, unit-wise, ended up making 8.8 units. Okay? 8.8 units, which is nothing to sneeze at. All right? That's almost 10%. So almost making 10% there. So remember that. If you're doing 1%, you made about 8.8%. You're doing 2%, you made like 17%. So, I mean, there's nothing to sneeze at there, okay? Your sports bettors will tell you, like, I make that in one day. Well, guess what? They also lose 3 times that in one day probably too. So that's how these other handicappers that are out there that are destroying the sport that I love because of all the bull that they're putting out there. So like I said, first step, make sure you ignore these minus 110 lines. That's what the sportsbook's going to give you. Those are going to be the rip-off lines. Those are going to be the lines that it looks like the game's fixed because they come one away from being able to cover the over the under, or they get pulled in a game. Trust me, it happens all the time. And you see nothing but people saying it's rigged and everything like that. Well, guess what? When you make your own lines, there's nothing rigged about it because you're the one that's making the lines. Yeah, you're paying extra, right? But guess what? At least you get to dictate what the number is going to be, which is going to take me to number 2 here. Number 2 is make the lines. Make your own lines. Hence the reason why we're called the line makers, right? You make your own lines. You don't play the lines that the sportsbook gives you. When you play the line that the sportsbook gives you, you're always going to lose. You're always going to be at a disadvantage because you're playing what they want you to play. When you make your own lines, you're playing what you want to play. And how you make your own lines is the probability percentage. You run a probability percentage to your player props to figure out what your line is and which line gives you the highest probability of winning. Yeah, of course, you're going to find lines that are going to give you a 100% probability of winning, but they're going to be minus 1,500, minus 1,600. You can't play those, obviously, because you need to win 100% of the time to be able to profit doing that. But when you find that discrepancy, you have to be able to find that discrepancy, okay? The discrepancy when you make the lines between what the line is that you made and the odds that the sportsbook's giving you, and they are off, and you find that little edge, whether it be a couple percent, 3, 4, 5%, that's where you find the line that you want to play. So for example, let's say you find a line that's minus 250. Let's just say, for example, let's say Luka, because he's trending right now. So let's say Luka. Let's say Luka's PRA line is 42.5. All right, we're going to say he's 42.5. But you try to find the line at minus 250, which is, we'll say it's 38.5. Now, let's say right here, for him to be able to hit that number, his probability is 52%. We don't want that, right? This is the line Sportsbook gives us. Not what we want. Let's say 38.5, his percentage there is 77%. What does that mean? That means we got, on a minus 250, to be profitable long term, you need to hit 71% here. Okay? That line right there gives you a 77% probability. You found yourself an edge. That's an edge. So that is what you're looking for. That's when I say make the lines. This is what I mean. Make your own lines. So that way you know exactly what number has the highest probability of hitting. If you don't do this, you're losing. I'm telling you straight up, you're losing. You're going to lose. All right? This stuff right here is all high level. Goes way over your average Joe's head who thinks that because they played basketball, they know how to handicap basketball. Because they play football, they know how to handicap football. Goes way over their heads. This is advanced stuff. Okay? You have to be at least somewhat math smart a little bit to be able to figure this out. If you're not, you need to probably get off the video. I'm just being honest. You probably need to get off the video if you have no idea anything that I'm talking about right now. Because there are some people out there that look at this and they're like, what is he talking about? You don't need to do all that. I just know that the Chiefs are better than the Eagles. See, so that right there, that's a losing sports bettor for you long term. Okay? Now, if you guys want to skip this whole step, obviously, and just implement me teaching you exactly how to find these percentages and make your own lines, all you got to do is click the link in the description so that way I can show you exactly how to do that. Okay, it's very simple. It's not a hard thing, okay? It takes time to learn, but it's not hard. So once you're able to achieve this feat right here, making your own lines, you have an advantage over everybody else. Now let's go ahead and get to number 3. All right, number 3 here, this is very important. This is called betting your unit size. Bet your unit. Okay? Because what I just showed you, and what I'm going to show you guys when I dive into the bet tracker, the difference here is if your unit size was $100, say it was $100, and you play a play that's minus 250, does that mean you go and put 250 to win $100? No. Okay? Huge mistake that people make. They think that that's what you're supposed to be going and doing. Can't do that. Why? Let's say this play loses. You lost 2.5 units because your unit size is $100. You're down 2.5 units if you do that. Cannot do that. If your unit size is $100, guess what you're betting? You're betting $100. That's what it's going to be. Doesn't matter if it's minus 220, 210, 200, 250, 300, whatever it is. You are betting what your unit size is. You have to do that. If you don't do that and you incur some losses, you will dig yourself a hole and then mentally won't be able to recover from it, and your emotions will take over. You will tilt and you'll lose most of your bankroll. I know, I've dealt with thousands of people. I know exactly how they think and how this right here will destroy your sports betting if you don't know what you're doing here. So yeah, of course, when you're betting $100, what if you bet a minus 250 play, you're getting $40 back, right? Okay, but think about this. That $40 times hitting 83%, 80% stacks up. All right, 8 units at $100 is $800 to $900. That's profit. That's what you need to understand. That's profit. No matter how much you make, if you made money, that's profit. Mostly everybody just donates. That's why these sports books are even alive. It's because all they do is take donations from everybody every single day. They're like a charity. They take donations from everybody because nobody knows how to do this the correct way. And there's no information that teaches you how to do it the right way. So what everybody does is just teach you exactly how to bet, guessing wise, and then feed you an affiliate link so you go and bet with their link because they know you're going to lose, and then they recoup your money that you lost. So remember that. That is the only information that you find on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. It's just information for you to be able to use their affiliate link so they could take your money. There's no information like this. This is very important. All this stuff that I'm teaching you is exactly what sportsbooks don't want you to know because they're not going to make any money. They're going to be forced to take these lines out. They're going to be forced to not let you make a prop builder, not be able to make your own lines because that's where you can beat them at. You can beat them at being able to make your own lines. But back to what I was saying, betting your unit size is one of the most important parts. Reason why is because if you don't follow what your unit size is and stick to it, you could dig yourself a hole when you do take losses because they're going to come. Okay? Losses come. There's no reason to be scared of them. If you're doing the right bankroll management and your unit size is correct, then you're going to be good. So if you implement these 3 steps that I just showed you right here, you literally could win 80% of the time. You have to be able to, like I said, the most important part to this, if not the bet your unit size, is making your own lines. Because you have to be able to know what the probability is of the play that you're playing. If you're playing a play that's minus 250, but only has an actual 55% shot at winning, you're not going to win long term doing that. That's a negative edge. You're playing a negative edge play. And that's where a lot of people make that mistake, is they'll go and they'll add to their parlays and everything, they'll add minus 500 plays, minus 300, minus 400 plays that have like a 50% chance of winning if you actually dove deep into it and looked. And guess what? That ends up making them lose. And then they end up wondering why their parlay lost by 1 leg that was minus 500. Well, that 1 leg probably only had a 55% chance of winning or a 60% chance of winning when you needed one that would win 80% of the time. So you have to know the probability of the play that you're doing of it actually winning. If you don't, you're going to be lost in the dark. You're going to have no idea what to do. And you're going to just do nothing but donate your hard-earned cash. Now let's go ahead and let's jump into the laptop so I can show you guys exactly the bet tracker that I have and also in the group where everything's date and time stamped and everything like that. So that way you guys know I'm not just feeding you a bunch of bull here. All right, let's get working here now. Here's the bet tracker. Like I said, this I've been filling out for years upon years. Everybody that's inside our app, you guys will have access to this so you guys can see. But let's go ahead and look at January here. All right. If I zoom in here, you guys can see right up over here, 83% win-loss ratio. Unit gain, 8.8. Let's take a look at the odds. Like I said, you can see 250, minus 280, minus 350, minus 270, 280, 290. Now let's take a look at the losses. See, this is where it becomes important. Think about this. Over the course of a whole entire month, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 losses over the course of the entire month. Imagine doing nothing but mostly winning. What that does for your mental state. Okay? Non-stop winning makes you feel like you're on top of the world, makes you feel like you figured this out. That's what it does for your mental state. Now, if you go look at somebody's bet tracker that's betting minus 110 plays, you see a lot more red, and probably way more red than you see green. And over here, you would see negatives, and over here, you'd see like 50% or whatnot. So you have to understand how important it is to be able to understand how to do this day to day, but do it the right way day to day. Now, if you look at the consistency as well throughout the month, there were a couple days where I had to take the day off because there was nothing. Okay? Some days there were nothing. Now, this right here, what I want to tell you guys, this right here is just the plays that I did that had 70% probability and above. This isn't even including the free picks and stuff that I give you guys on YouTube and everything like that, where we went like 6 straight shows where those didn't lose. All right, so overall, if I would have played those ones as well in here and put those in here, along with plays that were like 65 to 70%, this number would probably be even bigger. I'll be honest, probably be even bigger. The win-loss ratio would go down a little bit because of the probability on those plays, but the unit gain would go up, and we would have made even more. But I'm just showing you guys an example. This is the small sample size of January, and you're taking plays that have a 70% and above probability, true probability. And it stays true because you could see that. Some of these plays had 80% plus, and that's where you end up getting around that range at. Okay? So, again, with the consistency, there are some days where there's just nothing there. So what do you do on those days? On those days, you relax. You don't just force stuff because things are on TV. Like January 9th, there was nothing there for January 9th. So what we do is skip the day. Let's look for another one here. 25th. January 25th, there was nothing there. Skip the day. 16th, nothing there. Skip the day. Okay? Consistent means doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. When I say consistent, I don't mean you're just out there blatantly throwing darts every single day. It's calculated risk is what you need. You need calculated risk, and you need to be able to do it the correct way. Now, look at my unit size here. Now, this obviously, to save me time, it's $1,000 that I do. It's across multiple sports books. It's not just at FanDuel, but to save me time, I implement it as just one, because you can't just do $1,000. Like, if you did this at FanDuel, you'd be banned in the first month. This first month, you'd be banned after this happened. So you can't do that. I just log it that way so it's easier for me to see. I don't really care to see 4 different sports books with the same bet on one bet tracker. So I log it with the average odds that I had at those 4 sports books to be able to put that down. So when you see this, that's what, that doesn't mean that I just strictly at FanDuel hammered $1,000 bets. Because if you did that, you would get banned. In the first month, they would ban you. So you can't do that. If you have a unit size like this, you have to split that bet up between multiple sports books. Now, as you go through, these are all player props, whether they're in the NBA or the NHL, and there's a couple in the NFL. All right, our losses, it's funny because the majority of our losses came from one NHL player, which was Kyle Connor. Kyle Connor gave us like 3 or 4 losses. So that was literally where most of our losses came throughout the whole entire month, was one player. But other than that, this is what it looks like, guys, to actually be successful in doing this correctly. And like I said, you guys want this whole step, like what I'm showing you right here, all these, to teach you exactly how you could find these plays. Click the link in the description so that way I could show you guys exactly how to do it and streamline it. Because trust me, this takes years upon years upon years of research, especially me. I had nothing to go off of. So I had to do this all freehand by myself and figure this out all by myself. That's really all it takes. It takes the willingness to learn, because if you don't want to learn and you're stuck in your ways and you think what you do is correct and what I teach doesn't work, then you're not going to be successful. But remember this, guys. I'm in this game to destroy the sports books because all they do is take money from everybody else. And what do? They feed you guys a bunch of bull nonstop. They show you exactly what they want you to do to be able to extract money from your bank account that you work hard for. My goal is to disrupt that. And that's what I hope that we do in the future going along with the sports betting community. As always, guys, I'm Frank with Linemaker Sports. I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, I'm out.